And Jesus said, go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Don't go to the Samaritans. Don't go to the pagans. Not yet. Because when St. Paul would come around, the Holy Spirit would say to St. Paul, all right, now go to the Samaritans and now go to the pagans. Because before Jesus ascended into heaven, and we heard that the other day, the Great Commission, the words outside our chapel, he said, go out into the whole world. But for the moment, Jesus is instructing the apostles to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And at Relevant Radio, we do both. We go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and to the pagans and to the Gentiles. We go to everyone. But it begs a question today in the context of this gospel. Who are the lost sheep of the house of Israel today for us? I have my own opinion. I think it's the baptized, non-practicing Catholics, especially in our country. So I wanted to find an answer. So I went to Google. How many Catholics in this country? Baptized? About 72 million. How many attend church on any given Sunday? About 30%. That's about 22 million. And you don't need calculus to figure out the answer. You take 72 minus 22 million. There's about 50 million baptized Catholics in this country who don't go to Mass every Sunday. Who are they? They're our friends. They are our classmates from 8th grade and high school. They are our relatives, our brothers, our sisters, our in-laws, our nephews, our nieces. They are in our family. They may be our children and our grandchildren. And the question then is, what do we do? Well, this is the number one prayer intention we ever receive at Relevant Radio, especially during the pledge drives. Pray for members of our family who've wandered away from the faith. Then the next question, there's lots of questions. Why don't they practice? Just ask them, hey, why don't you practice the faith? And they may say, I don't want to talk about it. That's often the case. They don't want to talk about it. Some people say, I don't know. Do you have to go to Mass on Sunday? Yeah. Okay, then I'll go. All right. Sometimes it's as simple as that. I think there's a variety of reasons why people in America today in the year 2024 do not practice the faith. And I'm going to give 3 reasons. One is materialism. We're very wealthy. Like, why do you need God? Stock market's up 15%. If you own stock in NVIDIA, you're a millionaire. You know, I was down in a very ritzy place in Florida this last year. I met a Protestant minister. He said, what gives you hope in the Catholic Church today? I said, Africa. He said, really, Africa? Yeah, they're practicing faith like crazy. He said, why do they practice faith like crazy in Africa? Because they're poor. They know they need God. We sometimes think, I don't need God. I got everything going. Right? So materialism is one reason people don't practice. Second is moral relativism. What does that mean? I want to be God. I don't want anyone telling me what to do or how I should do. I want to make my own choices. So leave me alone. That's moral relativism. But I think the biggest reason people don't practice the faith is because they don't know it. Politely speaking, that's called lack of knowledge. We used to call it ignorance, but people get offended if you use the word ignorance. But that's it. When I graduated from 8th grade, from a Catholic school and a good Catholic family, I did not know the 10 Commandments. I certainly didn't know the name of the 12 apostles, but I did know the starting lineup for the Chicago Cubs in 1969 because I watched them every single day. Right? I didn't know the creed. I didn't know any of this stuff. My entire generation, we have not been catechized for a variety of reasons. And so that's why people turn to us at Relevant Radio. Years ago, I gave a talk. I called it the 4 L's. Learn it, live it, love it, and you will never leave it. You have to learn your faith first. And then if you learn it, you will live it. If you live it, you will love it. And if you love it, you will never leave it. I'll share a little story with you. You might find it humorous, or you might find it really appalling. I was 21 years old, a senior in college at Northwestern. I had been a celibate member of Opus Dei already for 4 years, going to Mass every day and going to confession every week and praying the rosary every day, before I discovered that pride was a sin. How about that? It's like the worst sin of all. Somebody had left, probably on purpose, a spiritual reading book open on the chair next to me, and I started reading it. It described pride. And I'm going, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, all these manifestations. I just didn't know. And if somebody had come up to me and told me that, I probably would have rejected. That's why spiritual reading is so important. That's why what we do on Relevant Radio is so important, because people don't know. I never heard that before. And so here at Relevant Radio, I can't recommend enough to each of you and to all of our listeners, listen to our shows. You will learn something. It's the number one testimony we ever received. I've never learned so much. Well, that's great, because you've never listened so much. I never knew those prayers. I never knew that. I never knew that, because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is dangerous. Ignorance is dangerous. So I thank God what we can do here at Relevant Radio every day. Those are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's why we buy a station in Richmond, Virginia, which is only 6% Catholics. That's why we buy a station all over the country to reach these people, because otherwise, how will they know?